FM News Talk 97.1. On demand audio.
You know, I've said it once, I'll say it again. It's a PSA for
I think a
against upbringing.
13-year-old girl that said who's speaking right now on the big screen, and this is how this guy's responding. Do your homework, you spoiled little brat.
It makes me sick. Hang on the lines, Charlie, Sue, Paul, the rest of you. 866-455-9797. We're going to get your calls after this segment. That was up in Madison, Wisconsin, this past weekend, where a fantastic group of patriots joined together and they discussed liberty, the Constitution, actual rugged individualism, and of course a group of people who have been up there for weeks and weeks trashing the Capitol, sending death threats to Republican lawmakers, blogger Ann Althouse, and otherwise disrespecting themselves and the freedom to assemble with their behavior, decided to continue the barbarism by shouting and screaming at a 14-year-old homeschooled Tea Party patriot who delivered a fantastic speech before Sarah Palin, and Tricia Willoughby is that teenager, and she joins us on the phone this afternoon. Tricia, first of all, God bless you, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you. May God bless you, too.
You are a true inspiration to a lot of young women out there, and I thought you were incredibly courageous to get up and talk about what it is to be a Tea Partier, what it is to be a conservative, to love the Constitution, and to recognize liberty in our country. And you were brave enough to do it in the face of all of these people who were standing out there behaving as they were towards you. When you were up on stage, did you hear any of the unfortunate things, or were you able to see them from the stage?
I could not hear that particular man that has been played over and over again, but I could see all of the protesters out on the fringes of the crowd holding signs. Thankfully, at that point, they weren't. I couldn't hear them, but they were definitely there, definitely making a statement, and I could see them.
Well, I'm glad for that. Your speech was absolutely fantastic, and I have to ask you. I mean, you're a homeschooler. I'm a homeschool mom, and so you almost can tell immediately when you speak to homeschool kids, because and I'm not, I was a public school kid, so I'm not making a slam on public school kids at all. But you're very active in your community. You spoke so eloquently. What was it that made you decide to participate in Saturday's event?
Well, I have two older sisters, and one is a student at Hillsdale College in Michigan, and the other is a junior in high school. And the oldest one, Malika is her name, she spoke at the first Tea Party in 2009. And then Lena, the junior in high school, she spoke at the rally, the Tea Party rally that was for Governor Walker's bill. It was a counter rally. And so I had seen them go before me, and I just really wanted to get a chance to get up there and speak my mind as well. And it was just such a wonderful opportunity and such a wonderful blessing that it came about like that. And it was such a thrill, such an honor to be up there.
And a lot of people like to say that in this grassroots movement, Tricia, they like to say that, oh, well, this doesn't apply to the youth, and that there's no youthful presence in grassroots, and they ignore the participation of people like yourself. Do you have a lot of friends that agree with you and that share your beliefs, or do you find that oftentimes you're in the minority with that in your group of friends?
In my group of friends, my close-knit group of friends, of course, most of our friends are like-minded. But yes, I have been around my fellow peers who do not agree with me. And I just feel that they're kind of misinformed. They were basically just calling, Scott Walker names and stuff just because they wanted to make, a scene or whatever. But yes, and I also have my fellow Patriot friends who are totally for the Tea Party, totally getting out there and joining the rallies and supporting Governor Walker in this as well.
Well, it's great to see you out there. We can't get enough young conservative women out there doing what they do. Have you ever thought about going into politics, or what do you plan on doing once you get out of high school, you get out of college? Is there anything in particular that you would like to do?
Yes, there is. It has been my lifelong dream, And I really feel like God has laid it upon my heart to become a nurse when I go into my college degree and then to graduate. I hope to become a nurse someday. But, of course, I will always remain active in my nation and state and local politics.
I love to hear that. That's fantastic. I wanted to ask you, too, you hear, especially your generation, you hear a lot from society, from pop culture about anti-bullying. And I'm sure, you've seen bullying with amongst your friends or with, your contemporaries and that. But you hear from Hollywood, oh, we can't bully people. We have to be anti-bully. But what did it feel like when you were there in Madison, Wisconsin, knowing that here we have pop culture pushing this anti-bully message, but yet you had people that were there in Madison, Wisconsin, clearly to bully people who believe as you do? Did you feel as though it was a bullying attempt?
Oh, definitely it was a bullying attempt. And unfortunately, the unionistas, their actions did not surprise me whatsoever, unfortunately, because actually when the first week of the protest was going on, I was actually at the Capitol that week taking a state government class called Teen Pact, and I was there, and they were beating drums, they had bagpipes and cymbals, and were loud, and were just there, and they just were such an annoyance to everyone else who had to work in the Capitol, and our class had been scheduled for weeks in advance, and it was, hard to hear, and it was sort of a bullying thing then, too, and then at the Tea Party, of course, it was bullying, and some people were by air horns for so long, they actually lost their hearing and went to the doctor, and they had lost a significant amount of their hearing. That is definitely bullying.
Wow.
And, yes, and, I'm homeschooled, and, so often people say that homeschoolers are not, they couldn't stand bullying. They wouldn't be able to withstand it. And when I first saw that video of that man who was yelling profanities at me, I'm not hurt or taking personal offense at that at all. I mean, he was just an immature, grown man who was yelling profanities at whoever was up there, and just being rude and not really even taking into account what we were saying, but just wanting to make a statement and be rude and bully.
Right. What kind of message does that send to you and your generation when you see behavior like that, when you see society talking against bullies, but yet you see bullying behavior against people who believe as you do up in Madison? What kind of message does that send to you?
Well, it's hard because so many of our youth today, they see that, and who wants to be the one getting bullied? Who wants to be, the one getting hurt in this situation? So it's always easier to take the less painful road. But then you look at the conservative side who, when the unions were having protests where we, in their face, yelling profanities, let's take the high road here and let's be the classy, the bigger person.
You are an amazing young woman, and I'm so proud that you are on our side. I am.
Thank you.
We need as many young conservative activists as we can get, and I think that you have set an amazing example for other teenagers in this country. Whether you realize it or not, the grace and the eloquency that you demonstrated in Madison, Wisconsin is going to affect a lot of people. And I've always believed that a lot of times our goals are simply to just plant the seed. This is gospel stuff. You just simply plant the seed. And I think that's what you have done, Tricia. And I think that there's going to be a great many things to be sown from your graceful actions and your patriotism. And I'm just, as someone in this movement, I'm just really proud of you. You're not my daughter, but I'm just very proud of your actions, and I just absolutely commendable.
Well, thank you so much. That's wonderful. I'm flattered.
Well, you do a great job. Keep it up. Keep speaking. Keep talking to your friends. Keep being vocal. And for every one person that would ever taunt you or call you a name out there, you have 1,000 per one of people that are standing right by your side and that have your back.
Oh, yes, that is so true.
Well, Tricia Willoughby, the fantastic 14-year-old speaker from Madison, Wisconsin, God bless you. Thank you for coming on, and I'm sure that we'll see great things from you. Thanks, Tricia.
Thank you. God bless.
Thanks so much. Take care.